Welcome to FRCMedia News for Thursday, December 2nd, 2021. I'm Keith Tebow. In the fight against COVID-19, we're learning of a new variant called Omicron. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker will not seek re-election next year. Operation Christmas is putting smiles on the faces of local children, and it's back to business for the annual Fall River Children's Holiday Parade. All this and more coming up. There's a new development in the fight against COVID-19. Last week, scientists in South Africa discovered a new variant of concern labeled Omicron. What does it mean for preventing the disease moving forward? Dr. Aaron Bromage, Associate Professor of Biology at UMass Dartmouth, says it's still too early to tell, but early data points to Omicron being similar in some ways to the current Delta variant.
It's almost certainly as transmissible as Delta. Whether it causes severe disease, it's hard to tell because it's hitting a population with a lot of immunity. Early anecdotes were saying it was much milder, and that would be fantastic. But if you had prior immunity to a previous infection and you get infected again, we would expect there to be milder disease. So what we really need to look at is when it hits populations of, say, unvaccinated people or people with waning immunity, what does it do there? So we will know about that quickly. We are seeing a rise in hospitalization that is mirroring the infections going up. So I tend to think it's going to be roughly the same as Delta.
Dr. Bromage believes any major impacts from the variant in a well-vaccinated country like the United States, if it were to occur, is still about 2 months away. He feels those currently vaccinated will likely see a strong level of protection against Omicron, and that any new vaccines will supplement current immunity.
The questions that will be answered in the next few weeks is, will the boost that people have got provide adequate protection against? There's two things they need to look at. Protection against infection is one thing. I think that will have diminished significantly, but also protection against significant disease and hospitalization. And I don't think that that's going to manifest in a big drop. Maybe a 20% drop, 95 to 75, but I don't think it takes us back anywhere near square one. So what we will find is it'll be starting to look much more like the annual flu shot, where you could consider it a booster, but in reality, the makeup of the influenza viruses that are inside the flu shot change every year to address the variants of concern that are circulating that year. So that's what we should see coming forward.
Dr. Bromage says a more immediate concern is minimizing the increased level of current infection being experienced as the weather turns colder.
We're seeing Massachusetts rise pretty much right on time. It started about the 15th of November. Thankfully, it's rising slowly, but we are at the exact same level as where we were this time last year in regards to number of daily infections. The big part that has changed, though, is hospitalizations. What we are seeing is much, much lower hospitalizations, and hopefully that manifests itself in lower death rates than what we saw in November, December, January of last year and into this year. I'm hopeful that we're going to continue the path, lots of infections, but not leading to lots of hospitalizations. And that really is probably going to be the future that we're going to see for the next many years of this virus becoming endemic and being more of a pain. Yes, it will lead to a lot of loss of life, somewhere between 50 to 150,000 people per year. But we generally accept that. And I'm not saying this is a good thing. With influenza, a good year is 35,000, a bad year is 100,000 deaths. That's sort of where we are moving to, but we still have this big last wave to go through and then work out what happens with Omicron.
Dr. Bromage says we should all continue to remain vigilant and adhere to mitigation efforts such as good hygiene, mask wearing, and social distancing when possible. Here are the latest COVID-19 numbers here in Fall River as of last Friday, November 26th. There were 356 new cases of the virus in Fall River last week. There are now 17,871 cases confirmed since the onset of the pandemic. On the vaccine front, 63% of city residents have received at least one dose of the vaccine, with 56% fully vaccinated. There's still plenty of opportunities to get the vaccine here in Fall River. The easiest way to find out where is through the city's webpage at frvax.com, or you can call 833-8VAX-NOW. That's 833-882-9669. You can also visit the state's webpage at vaxfinder.mass.gov. You can also dial 211. The race for governor in 2022 was given a big shakeup this week as two-term Republican Governor Charlie Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito announced they would not seek another term in office.
It was, in fact, a very complicated and difficult decision for a number of reasons. We both love the work, we love the people, and we love the experience that comes with this. And the opportunity to help communities and to help people build bigger and stronger possibilities and opportunity is a big part of why we got into this in the first place. But that pandemic, which is now 22 months along, has been an enormous challenge for the Commonwealth and for the people of Massachusetts. And I've said many times, and so has the Lieutenant Governor, that the people of this state brought their A game to this pandemic every single day and did remarkable things to help us work our way through it. But there is a ton of work that's left to be done as we come out of this pandemic to rebuild, recreate, reimagine many of the things that were busted during the course of all this. And we believe it's most important that we spend the next year focusing on that and not focusing on, let's call it the discourse, and that's probably an insult to the word discourse, that comes with political campaigning.
There's a lot of speculation on who may jump into the race now that Baker has made his decision. Currently, there is one Republican and 3 Democrats who have already announced they will run for governor in 2022. Genevieve Andrade, former chief of staff to former Fall River Mayor Jasiel Correa, will be on trial beginning Monday on government corruption charges. Andrade is facing extortion and bribery charges for her alleged role in Correa's scheme to extort money from one of 4 marijuana vendors. Correa was found guilty of fraud and extortion charges earlier this year. Attorney Steve Sabra says on the heels of Correa's conviction, attention will be made on the makeup of Andrade's jury.
The defense attorneys, in particular, will want to make sure that whoever sits on the jury either doesn't have knowledge of the fact that Ms. Andrade already pleaded guilty to these charges. You'll recall that she did plead guilty in return for a certain sentence that the prosecution and the defense had agreed to, but Judge Woodlock wouldn't accept the proposal or the plea agreement because it didn't include any prison time. The second part of it would be, from a defense side, you'd be interested to know whether any of the jurors were aware of the trial and conviction of her, not really co-defendant, but Jasiel Correa, and what their thoughts were about that trial, the evidence in that trial, and his sentence.
Attorney Sabra says the case against Andrade will not be influenced by Correa's convictions.
But this could be a case where the defense may have more witnesses than were in the Jasiel Correa case. For example, will the defendant testify in the case as to her motives in giving half her salary to the mayor? That might be something that she'll have to do. But those decisions are made sort of really at the last minute, depending on the strength of the prosecution case. But what I would say to your viewers is that this case is not the case against Jasiel Correa. This is in my view, a much weaker case, and that is the case against Jen Andrade. And the prosecution is going to have to hope that a jury infers a lot from some facts that could go kind of either way for the prosecution side or for the defense.
In terms of the former mayor, he was given a reprieve last week from reporting to federal prison to serve his 6-year prison sentence until January 10th. Correa has appealed his convictions, but there is still some unfinished business remaining before District Court Judge Douglas Woodlock.
There are, to the best of my recollection, 2 motions that I believe are still pending with Judge Woodlock. One, a motion for new trial, and another, a motion to stay the sentence pending appeal, which would mean, if that was allowed, that Jayziel Correa would not report to jail until the appeals court, the First Circuit Court of Appeals, decided the case, which would not be probably for months, because if the defendant has to file their brief by December 27th, they're the appellate. So then the prosecution has a month or two to file their brief, and then it has to be scheduled for oral argument. So you're talking about probably the spring before you get a decision from the appellate court.
Last week came word that over the Thanksgiving holiday, Fall River Fire Department's Ladder 4 was shut down. Mayor Paul Coogan tells us that the apparatus is back on the street.
I believe it was a staffing issue. I met with the chief yesterday. That ladder truck needs experienced people that know how to drive it, both the front and the back of it. It was a holiday. People had put in for their time off. They were having trouble filling the slots, so he made a decision based on safety and where best to allocate the firemen he had, and that's where that ended up. It was an administrative decision. He runs the department, and again, that's what we want our department heads to do: make the decision that's best for their department, best for the city, and best for everyone concerned.
Elsewhere in city news, in late October, Mayor Coogan made an initial allocation of COVID American Rescue Plan Act funding. He says he's looking at moving forward towards spending more of that money.
A way to help small businesses in the city that were hit pretty hard by COVID. We're looking at an ambulance, a specialized ambulance that the fire EMS wants. Those are a couple of things that are coming to the forefront. Obviously, water and sewer, we're going to give them a significant amount of money. When we get our county allocation, I think that's going to go to water and sewer almost exclusively, but we'll run it by the panel, and they've been pretty supportive of the direction that we'd like to see the city go. So those are the next ones on the horizon, and then obviously we still have a lot of money left. We have some things to work out, hopefully. With other ARPA areas, we're looking at some public safety things, and we'll be fine.
For over 40 years, Citizens for Citizens has helped make the holidays brighter for families across Fall River through its Operation Christmas campaign. The number of local families in need of help in providing gifts for their children continues to grow. CFC Director of Community Resources Crystal Arpa says the program will supply gifts to approximately 4,000 children in Fall River.
Every child from newborn to 12 years old will receive what we consider to be a major gift. That is something Santa Claus might bring, like this wonderful Barbie doll. This is something when they wake up and Santa would have definitely thought of them, or the Tonka truck. And then we do something, they get what we call second gifts. And we try to give at least 2, sometimes 3, depending on what the donations are. Those would be smaller things that mom and dad might buy you, but maybe not Santa Claus, like a single Barbie doll, a basketball. Those are considered our second gifts. Every child also gets stocking stuffers and hats and mittens, and we try to give every family a family game to promote family time. Sometimes they'll get more than one family game if they have several children, and the age groups vary.
The reports of delivery delays during the holiday season have impacted CFC's ability to purchase toys, but ARPA is confident that every family that registers for support will get it.
We purchase toys through Walmart is one of the places, unfortunately, where they would get anywhere from 50 to 100 of a Barbie, they're getting maybe 10 to 20 if they're lucky. So for us to go in and purchase all 20 would leave their shelves empty. So we cannot do that. I might be able to go in and purchase 5 or 6. So that is a challenge. We also used to deal with Hasbro. They have a toy boutique, but unfortunately since COVID, they are not open. So we do not have that distributor any longer. There is a company that we order from online, but they did try to purchase more toys in anticipation for this, and they have, but unfortunately, we're not the only sharks in that tank, so it makes it difficult, and it is limited on what we can get, because the more they purchase, the more everybody wanted.
Families looking to register for Operation Christmas must do so in advance, with a deadline in 1 week on Thursday, December 9th.
There's an application that you can print online. You have to print it out. The instructions are there. We require proof that you have children, which would be a birth certificate or their Mass Health cards. And we also require proof of address along with that application. Once they fill it out, and it will ask you the ages of the children, the sex of the children, it asks you the interests of the child. That is something we did start last year. It was very hard for us to do in previous years, dealing with over 4,000 kids to try to accommodate every single child was hard, but it is something that I have changed. I'm trying to do our best. It is still a work in progress, this being the second year, but I'm hoping our goal is to not just give out a gift, but give them something that they want and they will play with.
Families in the program will see a change in how the gifts are distributed this year.
Distribution will be December 18th. It will be a Saturday. We will be doing it out of a new location this year, which is on Eastern Ave. It is 822 Eastern Ave. We're still working out the details on how we're going to set it up, but last year it was very cold, and due to COVID, we had to leave people outside. I would like to see if I do not have to do that this year, but considering the volume of people that we do have show up that day, we may have to do something, but try to move it as quickly as possible.
For those in the community who wish to contribute a new unwrapped toy to Operation Christmas, they may do so right up to Christmas Eve.
If I do have toys left over, which is few and far in between, but if we do have toys left over, we save them, and then sometimes we have fire victims who have children and they need something, or a parent who has come crying because it's their child's birthday, and we will, or a DSS caseworker who has taken all the kids out of the home and they're looking for clothing or something for them to take with them. So we will use any remaining toys for special occasions such as those, or we will save them for Christmas, but I try not to save anything. I feel like if it came in to get to a child, I should absolutely do that.
For more information on Operation Christmas, you can visit the Citizens for Citizens website or call 508-679-0041. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Customer Service Food Preparation Associate. Sweet Rose Cafe, located at 268 Highland Avenue, seeks a part-time customer service food preparation associate, responsible for preparing food, grinding and brewing coffee, and serving to customers. Job number 158-64795. IT Project Coordinator. Blount Fine Foods, located at 630 Current Road, is looking for a full-time IT Project Coordinator to assist project teams in administering and tracking multiple projects, maintain, track, and report project status. Job number 158-70971. Phlebotomist Patient Service Technician. LabCorp, located at 427 Plymouth Avenue, is in need of a full-time phlebotomist patient service technician to perform blood collections, collect specimens for drug screenings, and perform data entry of patient information. Job number 158-61192. Receptionist, H&R Block, located at 4171 North Main Street, is looking for a full-time receptionist. For more information, call 508-675-0700. Catholic Memorial Home, located at 2446 Highland Avenue, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. RN Charge Nurse, job number 158-63093. Activities Assistant, job number 158-63061. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. A long-time Fall River holiday tradition returns to normal this Saturday at the 37th Annual Fall River Children's Holiday Parade. Following last year's citywide Santa's Joyride caused by the pandemic, this year's parade returns to its largest in the region pre-pandemic format with a march-off beginning at 1 p.m. from Kennedy Park, heading down South Main Street.
We have close to 100 participants in this year's parade. I think we are at 18 floats, about 14 bands, and numerous marching groups. We have the Hallamore Clydesdales. We have some camels that'll be joining us this year, and some other beautiful horses, some Arabian horses. And we can't forget our coronation coach, all the way from Belmont Castle and from Newport, Rhode Island. They will be traveling down the parade route with some of our first responders that we are going to thank for all their hard work this past 1.5 years. And we're just looking forward to a great day. As of right now, it looks like some sun, 40 degrees, so very doable. We're excited for a fun day.
Once the parade ends, the festivities will continue downtown, leading up to the official Government Center tree lighting later in the afternoon.
At the end of the parade this year, we will have some activities right in front of Government Center. There will also be some food trucks. We have 5 food trucks for folks that need a bite to eat. The activities are to keep the kids and the families at Government Center so we can turn on the holiday tree, turn on all the lights around Government Center and celebrate the tree lighting ceremony.
The holiday festivities sponsored by Greater Fall River Recreation will continue Sunday from 12 to 3 p.m. at the organization's headquarters on 45 Rock Street. That event is free and open to all. We'll wrap up FRC Media News right after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Vinny. Vinny is about 4 years old. He was a stray. He is a really cool cat. And he's really sweet, really affectionate. He loves people. He does have his feisty moments like most cats do. As you can see, he loves to be scratched under the chin. He's one of those cats that's gonna be fun to have around the house, sitting in the sun like any good cat. Vinny actually came with this collar, as you can see, makes him look very distinguished. If Vinny looks like your kind of guy, head over to foreverpaws.com, fill out an application, and then give us a call to make an appointment to come down to 300 Linwood Street and meet Vinny. Today we have Eli. Eli, we believe, is possibly a Husky German Shepherd mix. It's also possible that he's just one or the other. He's only about 1 year old, so he's still pretty young. So Eli's a pretty great dog. He loves being with people. He likes his toys a little, but if you're playing with him, if you try to play tug, anything like that, he's pretty respectful. Eli does know some tricks, some of your basic commands, although he's kind of picky with the treats, so he might not take it. Eli, sit. Good boy. Paw. Good. Other paw. Good. Other one. Good boy. Down. Good boy. So if you have an active lifestyle and you have experience with these kind of dogs and you think Eli would be a good fit for you, head on over to foreverpaws.com, fill out an application, and then give us a call and make an appointment to come down to 300 Linwood Street and meet Eli.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. One programming note, Santa Claus returns to FRC Media this Monday night as part of our North Pole Live program. Children can call in and talk to Santa and share their gift list for 2021. North Pole Live begins live at 5:30 p.m. this coming Monday, December 6th. You can watch it on Channel 95 as well as on our Facebook page. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.